The idyllic country town of Nolmunli was a quiet haven in a nation torn apart by war, until one day in the autumn of 1951, when soldiers arrived with large military tents. These tents would be the new home for peace talks to end the Korean War. The Korean War left a scarred landscape and a divided people, but the division of Korea into North and South began even before the war. In 1945, following the defeat of Japan in World War II, the United States and the Soviet Union each agreed to control half of the Korean peninsula. A unified Korean government, as initially envisioned after World War II, sadly never came to pass, and the issue was handed over to the United Nations. Eventually, two different governments were established. On June 25, 1950, North Korea invaded the South, marking the start of the Korean War. Although the fighting ceased in 1953, the legacy of two dueling ideologies has remained for decades. The Armistice Agreement was signed on July 27, 1953. During the 2 years of negotiations, the name Nolmunli was changed to Panmunjom, a nod to the Chinese spelling of the town. In November of 1954, the United Nations Command, North Korea, and Communist China agreed to locate the Military Armistice Commission at Panmunjom, which was to be guarded jointly. Thereafter, Panmunjom also became known as the Joint Security Area, or JSA. The JSA is located on the military demarcation line in the demilitarized zone and is used to maintain communication between the UNC and North Korea, as well as high-level exchanges between both Koreas. South Korean troops have guarded the JSA since 2004, but the area is still administered by the United Nations Command. Service members representing the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission and the United States Forces Korea are also stationed here. When and how was United Nations Command established, and what is the role of United Nations Command in the JSA? The United Nations Security Council condemned the 1950 invasion by North Korean forces and authorized the establishment of a multinational command, the UNC, to defend the South. The Security Council recommended the United States lead the joint effort. As a result, U.S. President Harry Truman appointed General Douglas MacArthur as Commander-in-Chief of the UNC. The UNC served as the unified command structure for multinational forces from 21 nations during the Korean War. In 1953, the UNC facilitated the armistice negotiations and was an official signatory along with North Korea and China. The Republic of Korea U.S. Combined Forces Command, or CFC, was established in 1978, and the UNC transferred operational control of the armed forces to it. Since then, the UNC has operated the Military Armistice Commission and the Neutral Nations Supervisory Commission. Also, the UNC has been faithfully carrying out its mission to maintain peace in the demilitarized zone and the Korean Peninsula as a whole. The nations that supported South Korea during the Korean War continue to be a part of the UNC and have successfully fulfilled their role in deterring aggression and promoting dialogue between the two Koreas for more than 60 years. On July 27, 2018, 55 sets of remains of UNC soldiers from the Korean War were repatriated from North Korea. There are more than 5,300 remains of UNC soldiers buried in North Korea, of more than 40,000 who died during the Korean War. Repatriation exchanges for those lost on both sides of the war are performed with respect and dignity. The continued division of Korea has created many generations of separated families and tragic stories. The North-South Red Cross Conference has facilitated reunions for separated families more than 20 times since 1985. The JSA continues to be a site that bears witness to these reunions, where separated family members cross over to meet their loved ones. Did you know there is an elementary school located within the demilitarized zone? It's called Daesungdong Elementary School. Daesungdong Village was established when North and South Korea agreed to build a town on their respective side of the DMZ. Daesungdong is on the south side and it currently has a population of less than 200 people. To the students of Daesungdong Elementary School, the UNC soldiers are not only protectors, but volunteers who teach the students English. The students of the school appeared on television during the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Olympics torch relay and also the Inter-Korea Summit, making Daesungdong Elementary a popular school to students throughout the nation. However, it has not always been peaceful at the JSA. One of the most violent incidents during the Cold War happened here in August 1976, when North Korean soldiers attacked the UNC contingent on a routinely performed tree trimming in the JSA. 2 UNC officers were killed and several others were wounded. The attack resulted in an elevated threat level for the first time since the 1953 signing of the Armistice Agreement. Although North Korea eventually apologized, the incident illustrated the ever-lingering threat of armed conflict. In recent years, a new tree has appeared in the JSA, a pine tree planted by leaders from both North and South Korea in April 2018, symbolizing the willingness of both sides to move toward reconciliation, peace, and prosperity. On April 27, 2018, North and South Korean leaders met to recommit to the peaceful unification of the two Koreas and agreed to carry out their respective roles and responsibilities for the complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. The United Nations Command supported this dialogue as part of its mission to promote dialogue that leads to lasting peace. Real-time footage of the summit and the two leaders walking across the wooden bridge in the heart of the JSA together was broadcast worldwide. The 50-meter bridge, built just after the armistice, has long served as a shortcut for neutral nation supervisory commission staff traversing the JSA. Called dobodari, meaning footbridge in Korean, the bridge now serves as a visual reminder of a people divided by space, connected by culture. Two months after the Inter-Korean Summit, the US President met with the North Korean leader for the first time. In this meeting, both leaders reaffirmed that North Korea would commit to work towards complete denuclearization. Although the meeting was held in Singapore, it was the result of work started at Panmunjom to establish enduring peace on the Korean peninsula. One meeting may not be enough to overcome a long history of distrust, but as one Korean proverb says, getting started is half the battle. Two nations long at odds with each other have begun to develop trust. But both sides have responsibilities and commitments to fulfill, including denuclearization, before international sanctions can be lifted. Small but significant steps have been taken thanks to a military agreement, after which both sides have started withdrawing guard posts and demilitarizing the joint security area. Looking back, the United Nations Command has always worked to empower a battered South Korea. The UNC helped the people of South Korea through the chaos and fear of the Korean War, and again during its journey from poverty to prosperity. Now the United Nations Command continues to assist a strong and stable South Korea to forge a path toward enduring peace on the Korean peninsula. The UNC will continue to walk hand in hand with South Korea toward a brighter future. A future when North and South can meet in peace. A future when North and South can walk hand in hand. A future when this place can once again be an idyllic country town. This is where we work towards restoring peace, the joint security area at Panmunjom.